Hi there, I hope you guys are doing great. I'm Animesh and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to learn about target encoder. Now, categorical variables are challenging for machine learning algorithms. Since most of them accept only numerical values as input, we need to transform these categories into numbers so that the machine learning model can understand and do the computation. So we generally do one-hot encoding sometimes, and we create a really very sparse matrix. This inflates the number of columns, which results into curse of dimensionality. So one clever approach to deal with this problem is target encoder. It is a very good alternative to one-hot encoding. Now the concept of target encoder is that the value of the category is replaced with a probability, and how this probability is calculated, it is actually the mean of the target given a category. Okay, so let us take for example, we have a categorical column smoker which has two values, one is no and another is yes, and we take target as tip. Now tip is the numerical data, so we see that there are two values, yes and no, in smoker column. And now what we are going to do is aggregate this target tip column by grouping with respect to smoker column, and the aggregation that we are using is count and mean. Let's just execute it. So now let's just see the results. So here we see that whenever the smoker is yes, the mean is 3.00, and whenever the smoker value is no, we get mean as 2.99. So this is nothing but the mean of the tip column when it is yes, and this is mean of the tip column when it is the smoker is no. So these values will be imputed in place of yes and no in the smoker column, which is going to be the target encoding. So I hope you got the concept, and now we are going to do the application using category encoders library. So I'm going to just import target encoder from category encoders library, and I'm going to instantiate this class right now. Let's just execute it, and we get an error, module not found error, no module name category encoders. So this error comes when we have not installed the library. We will just install this library using pip install category encoders with a exclamation mark in the beginning, because we are running it in the Jupyter notebook. If it's in the terminal, we can remove this exclamation mark and run simply pip install category encoders. Now that we see that the requirement already satisfied, that means it has been installed. Now let's just rerun it. Okay, so it's executing and it's got executed. So now let us see, there are some very important arguments that we pass within the target encoder class. What are those? So first one is return df is true. That means it will return the data frame. If it had been a boolean false, that means it will return a numpy array. Then comes handle missing. So handle missing is if there is a missing value in your categorical variable, then what should be how this particular class should perform, whether it should throw an error. Here by default it is value, so that means what it will give, it will give the mean of the target variable to that particular value in the categorical variable. Handle unknown is also value, that means it will also give the overall mean of the target variable, as in our case it is the tip column which is the target variable, and it will give the mean of overall tip column. And then comes the mean sample leaves. It is given 20 by default. So mean sample leave is for regularization. The weighted average between the category mean and the global mean is taken. So you can play around with this, you can change this value. And then comes the smoothing. Smoothing is basically smooths effect to balance the categorical average versus the prior. The higher value means stronger regularization. The value must be strictly bigger than 0. Here it is 10. You can assign any other value and just try it out. Now moving forward, since we have instantiated the class encoder, now let's just do the fitting. So when we do the fit of this encoder instantiated class, we first pass the column that we want to encode. Now that is the categorical column, smoker in our case, and then we give the target column. In our case it is the tip. Okay, now let's just execute this one, and then what we are going to do is the transform step. So transform is when we actually do the changes to our data, that is we encode. So once we have done the fit, now we do the transform, and I create a new column and name it as smoker encoded, and I execute it. Now let's just check with some 10 samples randomly. So we have successfully encoded the smoker categorical column. So no gets encoded with 2.99 and yes gets encoded with 3.00, just like we talked about earlier. So if this video really helped you and you like this video, then please do subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.